Hello, my name is Bazgrim, and welcome back to the Baz Flash. So, race is definitely going to be a dwarf. Class, that also is somewhat up in the air. My gut reaction was to go for a cleric, because that's just what I'm most comfortable with in games in the past. But as I study the classes in Pantheon more, the paladin is in some ways actually seeming to be a little bit more interesting to me, at least from what I know about it so far. It's not that much of a departure from cleric, I guess, but it's again one of those things where it's like once probably in alpha I'll be able to spend more time hands-on, and maybe the abilities at that point will be getting tweaked less often, and so that I can actually get like a more accurate feel for how the class will play. So those are the top two. It's kind of a toss-up between a cleric and a paladin. Of course, as a dwarf, I don't really have that many other options to begin with. I mean, because I see like the dwarf also can be an enchanter, which is an intriguing thing to me, because dwarf enchanter, you don't really see that in a whole lot of games, and it's like I'll probably try it out. I really don't have that much experience in the crowd control role, so I would be intrigued to see what it's like, but it's much more likely that I'll be either a paladin or a cleric. There was one raid called the Tower of Despair that I wanted to, first of all, solo heal it. So I wanted to be the only person in the raid group that was a healer. Now, for those of you who don't know, in DDO, the raid sizes were maximum 12 people, which is not like a ton of people, but still typically you'd have like 2 to 3 healers in a raid group. But I wanted to be the only one. I wanted to solo heal the entire raid from start to finish, and I wanted to do that while also doing what was called shadow tanking. So in the Tower of Despair, it was a multi-phase raid. Like there was multiple bosses that you had to take out on your way to the big boss at the end. And one of the bosses on the way to the end had these like frozen shadow minions. And I won't take forever to tell this story, but the short explanation of it is that he had some ads that would come out, and they had this really nasty cold damage AoE effect. And so the typical strategy, there would usually be like a wizard that would put on, all their cold protection, because wizards had a lot of elemental spells, and so they could withstand all the cold damage. And they would go and kite those shadows around, away from the group, while the rest of the group was killing the main boss. And for whatever reason, I decided that I wanted to do that while also solo healing the rest of the raid group, even though, to my knowledge, no cleric had ever done that before, because clerics were not really equipped to tank those shadows. But I went through all the effort of tracking down all like the cold resistance gear and stuff that I could, and getting all the clickies, and just to try to give myself a chance to survive. And I ended up doing it, and it was really exciting, because I had like handpicked the very best people in my guild that trusted me for whatever reason to do something stupid like that, and I trusted them, and it worked flawlessly. And it was just really exciting to do something so like pointless and stupid, but for have it to all go so well. I guess I'm kind of boring in this regard, because like I just drink water, to be honest. When I'm gaming, especially if you want to have like a long gaming session and not feel like complete garbage afterwards, I've found that water is the best thing. Like it sounds super lame, and in some ways it is, but it's like, I mean, water is the nectar of life. You got to go with water. I have a Razer Black Widow Elite with an ergonomic wrist rest, and it's got really tactile, clicky keys, and it's also very quiet, which is something that's important when you're broadcasting, like on Twitch. that you don't want the clicks of my keyboard to just be like dominating the microphone. So it's a nice balance of having really tactile keys that I like, but also being pretty quiet. On top of that, really the most important thing also is that it has an excellent RGB setup with the backlit keys, with customizable colors, the whole 9 yards. It's awesome. I'm definitely a keyboard user when it comes to like MMOs. I'll just kind of go off on my own rabbit trail here, because then a lot of people talk about like, you know, do you mouse click to activate your abilities and that sort of thing. And in playing DDO especially, I really sunk into just doing everything, or as much as possible as I can, on my keyboard. I just think it's way faster than having to mouse everything. I have a decent mouse. I have a Razer Naga, which I do like, but keyboard's where it's at. Oh, that's an easy one. I am at Bazgrim TV, Bazgrim TV, on pretty much everything. I will do it. I will do it just for you. I like never estimate, because people ask me this sometimes, and I don't even hazard a guess. But okay, let me see here. Let me think. Let's say March 23rd, 2022. I mean, I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't just shout out the whole Pantheon community, how much I always appreciate their company and their support, hanging out. Again, I talk about it a lot and in my videos about how just this whole process of following Pantheon and being a part of the community has actually had a very positive effect on me as a person. I feel like I've learned a lot, grown a lot through this whole process. And so, yeah, just give all my love to the Pantheon community.